Good morning and a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, and I am so happy to be here with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We got a jam-packed show ready for you here today, and I cannot wait to bring it to you inside these Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. For sales and service, you can go there Monday through Saturday. You can get a sneak peek by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. We're with you up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, we thank you for tuning in with us from wherever you are. We're proud to be there with you. So, with that being said, on today's broadcast, we'll start things off, as we always do on a Thursday, with the Player of the Week, proudly presented by Myers Creek, our Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, followed by our Syracuse Football Player of the Week, because we promised one Player of the Week every single week, under promise, over deliver. So, these are both presented by Myers Creek. Myers Creek has two locations waiting to see you. The location out on the countryside on 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia, New York, and the Syracuse Inner Harbor, where we are for Wake Up Call Game Day and Syracuse football home games. So we'll see you on site on location there. Next on Halloween, when we are there to preview Syracuse's game against North Carolina on Friday, October 31st. So can't wait to see you there at Myers Creek in the Inner Harbor on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, New York. With that being said, it is now time to give you those Players of the Week, but want to let you know that right after that, PJ is going to be joining me like he always does on a Thursday. We'll talk Major League Baseball World Series. We'll get into our NCAA college football picks. How did we do in week number 8? We'll jump into week 9. Then we'll make our NFL. We'll talk about the NFL, the recap of week 7, and then we'll jump into week 8. So plenty of great stuff coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So without further ado, it is now time to bring you first my Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, proudly presented exclusively by Myers Creek. My Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, coming off of their past week's performance leading into this week, goes to the quarterback of the Christian Brothers Academy in Syracuse, Graydon Dixon. Graydon Dixon, CBA Syracuse quarterback, against Liverpool, went 10 for 14 for 177 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Also had 4 carries for 21 yards and a rushing touchdown, giving him more than 5 yards a carry. This game showcased the two undefeated teams in Section 3, Class AA-1, CBA Syracuse and Liverpool. After this game, Liverpool had their first loss of the season, standing at 6-1, and CBA Syracuse remained undefeated. That win, 42-10 at home, quarterback Graydon Dixon putting on a show with his teammates, and a 32-point win over Liverpool to remain undefeated as we head toward postseason play. Graydon, you are my Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, proudly presented by Myers Creek on 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia and on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, located in the Syracuse Inner Harbor, for your performance in a game of undefeateds, keeping CBA Syracuse undefeated. 3 touchdowns in the game, almost perfect, be right there under center, 10 for 14, and then carrying the ball for over 5 yards a carry. Congratulations to Graydon Dixon. Now it is time to give my Syracuse Football Player of the Week. Syracuse had an awful game against Pittsburgh. However, the defense showed up. The defense had arguably its top 2 game of the year. The best time, that, in my opinion, the best defensive games that we have seen so far this season from Syracuse football came at Clemson and came in this matchup at home against longtime rival Pitt. So congratulations goes out to this gentleman for having a career day when he went out onto the field. The defense created opportunity after opportunity. And despite the loss, this gentleman had himself an awesome game. Let's honor our next player of the week. This for Syracuse football. Congratulations goes out here to our Syracuse football player of the week, that being Mr. Kevin Jobity Jr. That's right, Kevin Jobity Jr., number 94 on Syracuse's defensive line. The Syracuse Orange defensive tackle had 3 sacks in the loss at home to Pitt on their quarterback, Heinschel. He started his career at Syracuse as a 3rd-string defensive lineman. He didn't, one season, you're going through the season, you're getting closer to the end, and this guy goes down, and his backup goes down, and Kevin Jobity stepped in. When he was one of the only linemen left on the roster, he stepped in. Well, now, he's a 1st-stringer at Syracuse. So our Syracuse football player of the week, from 3rd string to 1st string, to 3 sacks in a very strong defensive performance by Syracuse, despite their loss to Pitt. Shout out to Kevin Jobity Jr. with a trio of sacks in the game on their quarterback, Heinschel. And to make a note of this as well, when you take a look at what Kevin Jobity Jr. did in this game, getting to the quarterback and attacking, he joins a long line of Syracuse players that went from trying to find their place on the team to being one of the guys on this roster, on this team, that is making a name for himself and having multiple good games. He's already gotten to the quarterback this season, but he's never gotten to a quarterback 3 times in a game, and he does it this past week for Syracuse. It also got him named ACC Defensive Lineman of the Week. So, big-time congratulations to Kevin Jobity Jr., showing us that when you have a dream and you chase it, a dream delayed is not a dream lost. God bless to Kevin Jobity Jr., and congratulations. With that being said, PJ and I are now here to talk to you about so many different things. I'm very excited to have Papa Joe back on the show, as we will be discussing the 2025 Major League Baseball playoffs, now in World Series time. We'll talk college football Week 8. We'll make our picks for Week 9. Then we'll go to NFL Week 7 and make our picks for Week 8. P to the Jizzle, J. Edgar Twizzle. How we doing, PJ?
Good morning, Daniel. Good. I'm fine. Had a good week. Exercised on my little bike. Feeling better. It seems like the exercise on the bike has really helped my hip a lot when I fell on. So I'm happy about that. And MT is happy. If MT is happy, the world is happy.
Yeah, so I'm happy you're feeling better, and I know that you are the true, to me, example of when adversity strikes, you love your life, you love being alive, you love having this opportunity that God puts breath in your lungs every day, and you've always been a fighter, you continue to be a fighter, and it means the world to me that you are one. So God bless to Papa Joe, and thank you for the gift. Your gift got to me first before anybody, so I got a bunch of new spices to play around with in my kitchen, thanks to Papa Joe and MT, and I just wanted to thank you while you could see my face. And even though I didn't get to see you in person on my birthday, I know that whenever we get to see each other again, we will celebrate. So just let MT know to have that carrot cake waiting for me down in Florida.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that we deal with Penzies an awful lot, and we have them shipped from Milwaukee, so there's some serious stuff. And I know the way you like to cook, and you can really bring up the taste of your foods with those spices, and they'll last a pretty good while too.
Yeah. So I'm very excited to use them. I'm happy to have them. They're right on my kitchen table to let me know that when I'm ready to cook, they're sitting there waiting for me. So shout out to you both, and thank you for that. And, PJ said to me, he was like, "What's going on with your birthday? Who's taking you out?" And I texted him back, and I said they surprised me. He said, "How is it a surprise if you know about it?" It was right after I got the surprise. So I was definitely pleasantly surprised on my birthday and got to have a good time with it. And I'm very grateful to my mom and my dad and to everybody that showed up for my birthday to celebrate, and definitely looking forward to the celebration continuing when, you get to see all your loved ones all over. So we still got some more things to celebrate. Obviously getting to see MT and PJ hopefully soon. So what we will see, PJ, and this is something that is awesome, is we are truly seeing a David versus Goliath. Inside of the 2025 World Series, the Toronto Blue Jays, who won the World Series in 1993, are back. And guess how long it's been since the Dodgers won? Not even 365 days. So the Dodgers are back from last year, and the Toronto Blue Jays are back from a very long time ago. And I think it's 2025, 1993, so it has been 42 years since we have, or pardon me, not 42 years, 32 years since we have seen them take this. Almost as old as I am, was when the Blue Jays took this thing 32 years ago. So big time shout out to what's going on with the Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is a heck of a series that has set itself up. And PJ, I would love to get your thoughts, as our game one will be this Friday, October 24th, when the Dodgers will head north of the border to Toronto to face off against the Blue Jays in the World Series. Set us up in how it happened. The Dodgers have been sleeping in a hammock for the past week, waiting to see who was going to win between the Mariners and the Jays. And the Mariners, in back-to-back series, went all the way to the end. Had 5 games against the Tigers, 7 games against the Blue Jays, and one of those games the game that was within the first series, the ALDS, went 15 innings. Then they came into this series. It went back and forth. Seattle took the first 2 in Toronto, and you thought, okay, this thing might be over quick. Then Toronto woke up in Seattle, and Toronto took care of business. Here's some cool stuff that people may not know. There's a needle in Seattle, and there's a needle in Toronto. That very thin building that goes up, and you can go up in the building, and you can look down from within it. So there's a needle that is a true building that you can experience, and there's one in Toronto, right by the Rogers Center where the Blue Jays play, and there's one in Seattle. And the one that pokes that final needle that was able to just inject that serum to give this team the life that they needed, the Toronto Blue Jays in Game 7. PJ set us up as the Dodgers have been sleeping, waiting, and the Blue Jays were fighting all the way to the end.
Well, it's certainly, you noted it correctly at Goliath, David and Goliath. This is truly, really a mismatch on paper, but what the Boomer said. That's why they play the game. So they got to play the game. Toronto looked a little shaky against Seattle. I thought both teams played very well. Cal Raleigh certainly acquitted himself as probably in my opinion, the favorite to be the MVP in the American League. Toronto's pitching held up when it had to be. But look, they're tired. They're tired. And the Dodgers are kicking back, like you say, on their hammocks. Dodgers are going to have live arms. And I don't know how you get by their starters. But I know that Toronto starters are probably going to be just about the same. I think the first game is going to be Blake Snell, who we know was a killer. Two-time Cy Young Award winner. He used to pitch for Tampa Bay. He was hurt for a while last year. Came back middle of this year. Strong, really strong. Nasty lefty. Very, very difficult to stay in the box against him if you're a left-hander. He's really a pleasure to watch. And he's got besides being nasty, he's got a very fast fastball. He's going to be opposed by Kevin Gausman, probably. I don't know what they're going to change that or not. Gausman's been around a long time. Professional pitcher, good pitcher. Now in his later years, certainly not up against a pitcher like Snell. But Gausman doesn't hit against Snell. Gausman's got to get his buddies out. And Snell doesn't have to hit against or doesn't have to pitch against Gausman. So the first game is probably going to be a pitching duel. I don't know how, you're going to be able to look at the players' faces all the time because the TV has their cameras everywhere. You can't even go to the bathroom without a damn camera in your face. Ridiculous. After about 3 or 4 innings of Snell is doing his thing, you're going to see the expressions on the Toronto's faces.
Yeah.
Whether it's going to be a smile or a sneer, we'll see very shortly. And the farther that Snell gets along in the game, the worse those expressions are going to look if he's doing his job. Look, Toronto is up against it because they're facing a pitching staff that's been rested, including their starters, for a week. And their arms are going to be live. The splitters are going to split. The fastballs are going to fast. So the only advantage I think that Toronto has in the first game, certainly they have to get on base. And Snell doesn't walk that many guys. He'll hit a player every once in a while. But there's one little hidden caveat here that Toronto has, and I'm not sure if that's the case yet. But I think if Bo Bichette plays, that is going to increase their offensive production incredibly so.
Yeah.
Bichette led the league, in the American League, in hitting this last year. Got hurt. He's got a little bit of a knee problem. Probably at the end of the season, he'll probably have surgery on it. But for the main part, I think he's got to play this game. You got to play the series. I noticed I watched the MLB channel all the time, and a couple of the guys on there had some TV footage of Bichette running the bases, stopping and starting, making a turn at second, going to third, legging out a hit from the box. So I really think they're going to play him. And if he's on the roster, then they're going to have to play him because his bat is, they need it, seriously. Toronto, I say, they stated they're tired.
Yeah.
Not Guerrero. Guerrero and Bichette have led these guys for the last 3 or 4 years. The baby boomers, I call them, because they're sons of Major League Baseball players, both of them in the Hall of Fame. Dante Bichette and Guerrero is a senior. This is huge. This is really huge. If somehow Toronto can get on base, score some runs against Snell, it's going to perk their attitude up a little bit. And Bichette has to hit. I think that certainly they don't match up well with the Dodgers at all. If anyone does at this time of year, certainly the Dodgers are peaking at the right time. They just blew by everyone in this postseason, and look what we're looking at. I mean, we're looking at a very rested, dominant pitching staff against a tired Toronto team. So we'll see Saturday or Friday the first time.
Yeah, and it's the exciting thing about this is the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, they have shown that their bats can wake up. They have had multiple games where they're scoring 10 or more runs. We've also seen that pitching wise, they've been able to do some good things. Shane Bieber, who they got before the trade deadline, has been important for them in their rotation. You look at the rotation of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and it sounds like an all-star team. You have Yoshinobu Yamamoto, then you have Shohei Ohtani, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, and Clayton Kershaw. So that is your pitching rotation, which is also called an all-star team, which is also called a lot of money, which is also called very hard to beat. And then you look at Toronto, and, Toronto, like I said, bringing in Shane Bieber and their rotation. The Blue Jays bring you Kevin Gausman as well as Shane Bieber, and then Trey Yasevich, and then you have Max Scherzer and Chris Bassett. And so you do have talent here, like I said, bringing in Shane Bieber. Max Scherzer, people were leaving for dead when he had an assignment with the Syracuse Mets, trying to make it onto the Mets a few years ago. And now look at what Max Scherzer's doing. He was a Met for a hot minute, then he was gone, and now getting to the Toronto Blue Jays and doing what he's done in this postseason. There's definitely pitching that should be respected on Toronto's side. And, of course, you have the all-star team with the Dodgers, but you still have talent here with both of these franchises. And, I mean, when you look at the team of the Dodgers themselves, Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani again, because he's on the mound and he's hitting the ball. And then, of course, the closer, Sasaki, has been awesome for them. So, like I said before, the Los Angeles Dodgers look like they came out of the break here in Major League Baseball and just brought a couple people that were from other teams and put them on their roster, because it looks like this is just an all-star team. And then the Toronto Blue Jays being the David in this David and Goliath story as they work towards something special. Obviously, Vlad Guerrero Jr., he's one of the guys that comes to mind. Alejandro Kirk. And then you look at Dalton Varsho, who used to be an Arizona Diamondback. George Springer, who sprang forward with his 3-run home run, which helped them defeat the Seattle Mariners to put them to get to the point of beating the Seattle Mariners to put them to where they are. So George Springer coming up huge recently here. And, so, I mean, there is talent here. The question is what can Toronto do? Because we've seen Toronto have moments where they struggle in scoring the ball and then they'll wake up. And so the question will be here, like against the Yankees, 10-1, 13-7, lost 9-6, won 5-2. And then you look at Seattle, they lost those first two, 3-1 and 10-3. Then they come back and win 13-4, 8-2 on the road, lose 6-2, win 6-2, and then win 4-3 in that final game that I was talking about with Springer. So they can score, they can win close games, their bats do wake up, but the question will be, with the series starting in Toronto, since Toronto's been good on the road, can they first be good at home? Because you don't want to go down. I remember Game 1 last year, Dodgers-Yankees, and when Freddie Freeman hit the walk-off grand slam, and you sit there and you watch that moment and you thought, this is just Game 1. But these are the videos that they take as a clip that ends up in the World Series footage when everybody's going to Disney, and Sports Illustrated's making a commemorative issue of them. So Game 1, that first move, that first step is ever important for Toronto in the Rogers Center. And it's going to be a tough one, PJ, because like I said, there are names that have stepped up. There's names you did know. There's names maybe you didn't know. But on the Dodgers, you know the names, you know the players. And, I mean, it's just crazy. I've said, if you took the Los Angeles Dodgers payroll and everybody decided to not take a paycheck this year, they could probably collectively, as a Dodgers organization, pay off the debt of California.
That's right. Pay off the national debt too. You know, there's a good comparison here that I caught on one of the websites here about position to position. This is interesting for people that don't follow it the way we do. I'll start with the catchers. Will Smith, the Dodgers, we know he's been a just Dodger catcher for years. He's still young. He's like Cal Raleigh. He catches almost every game. He knows the pitchers. He calls the pitches. And he's up against Alejandro Kirk. I think this is a wash because Kirk is a terrific defensive catcher. He's a little short, squatty guy, and he can move around real quick. And I think that's a flip right there. You go to first base, you got Freddie Freeman and Vladimir Guerrero. Now, what do you do with this one? Freddie Freeman, certain Hall of Famer. Guerrero, if the way he stays going to be a Hall of Famer. These two are just about even too. Guerrero certainly has taken over the series, the pre-series with Toronto, and Freddie Freeman is always there no matter where he was, Toronto, Atlanta, or here. This one I give an edge to Toronto. In the next one, I got the second base, Tommy Edman, Dodgers versus Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who used to be with the Yankees, by the way. This one I think is have a slight edge to Tommy Edman, because he was the hero last year with the World Series, played solid with them all year long, good average, runs really well, plays a good second base. Now, the shortstop, Mookie Betts, against Andrea Gimenez, and I don't think that Bichette, if he does play, I think he'll be a DH. If he does play the field, Mookie Betts is a much, much better shortstop. He covers more ground. He certainly hits. They both hit about real well. So this is a flipper too. If Jimenez starts at the shortstop position, the advance will go to the Betts. If Betts and Bichette square off, it's kind of a flipping because Bichette doesn't have near the range he does now because he's hurt, but he hits better. So that'll be a good matchup too. Next one we got is third base, Mad Max Muncy. We got another Mad Max against Ernie Clement or Addison Barger, whichever one it is. Both of these guys. Ernie Clement is a terrific fielder. Barger, we saw him play third base. We saw him in right field. He was making all sorts of plays. He had home runs. Both of these guys drove in a lot of runs. To me, the edge goes to the Blue Jays. And we'll go to left field. We got Kike Hernandez of the Dodgers against Davis Snyder or Nathan Lukes. Probably Nathan Lukes to be starting. And if that's the case, he's a better player and a better hitter than Kike Hernandez, who last year was terrific too in the series. Center field, Andy Pages with the Dodgers, Dalton Varsho with the Blue Jays. Both of these guys are solid. Pages can get anything if he's close to it. Varsho not quite as fast. Varsho is a better hitter. This is a flip for me too. Right field, Teoscar Hernandez versus George Springer. Hernandez carried the Dodgers late. George Springer carried the Blue Jays recently. George Springer had a great series when he was with Houston, part of that cheating team that won the World Series. I'm going to give the edge to Toronto this time because of Springer. Springer leads off like Ohtani does. He's a difficult out. He can hit any pitch. He hits sliders, he gets curveballs, he gets fastballs, changeups. He's a terrific hitter. Now we'll go to the designated hitter. Now, if the Dodgers don't have any really what it can put in there, they probably could. But for our conversation this morning, we'll use Bichette as the designated hitter against Ohtani. Now, folks, Bichette is an all-star, the son of a major leaguer who's in the World Series Hall of Fame, or the MLB Hall of Fame, Dante Bichette. If he tangles up against Ohtani, it's not going to be a contest. Ohtani is just remarkable. I mean, I just don't think we've ever seen anything live. I don't remember seeing anything the way he did it this last week. I was still shocked the way it was. Starting rotation, big advantage to the Dodgers. The bullpen is about even. The only reason I'd give it to the Dodgers, and I will, is because they have arrested. Bullpen. They got a nasty lefty with Banda, and they got a nasty little righty, Sasaki, who you mentioned earlier. Sasaki's coming into his own after being hurt, pitched late in the year. I don't know how a little guy like that can throw 100 miles an hour, but he does. This really looks like a real mismatch.
Yeah.
But that's beside the point. When you play in a World Series, everything goes off the board. They all start 0-0. They start 0-0 batting, 0-0 ERA. Everything's off the board, and you play it on the field. I always use the boomer. That's why they play the game. The boomer says that, and that's true. So there's my setup for the series. Now, I think if Toronto can get the crowd into it, and they start hitting a little bit, maybe get some guys on base, hitting and running, stealing bases, doing some stuff to take Snell off his norm. Now, Snell being a lefty is a great move to first base. The Toronto won't be having that big of a jump from first base because of Snell. So I look for the hitters to try to put the ball in the holes, drop a single in the center field or right field, left field, anything to rattle Snell. If Snell gets past the first couple innings, forget about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You think about Shohei Ohtani, you think of Yamamoto, but you got to remember that they brought in Blake Snell. They brought in a Cy Young arm to help them out with all this, and Sasaki's done an incredible job. So this series starts this Friday, October 24th, and the Blue Jays are the better team between the two. Blue Jays had as far as wins, 94 wins to the Dodgers 93, which means the Blue Jays are the home team, so they get the first two games. The Dodgers get the 3 in the middle, and the Blue Jays will get the final 2 if they happen. So the first game will be this Friday, October 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Game 2, and both of these games in Toronto, will be Saturday, October 25th, also on Fox, also at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Game 3, the Blue Jays will go across country to LA to face the Dodgers, and that'll be Monday, October 27th, so they'll take Sunday off on Fox at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Game 4 will be on Tuesday, October 28th, on Fox at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and then if Game 5 is needed, it will be still in LA at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, October 29th on Fox. And then they'll take a day off. If Game 6 is needed, they'll go back to Toronto. And that game is at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Halloween, Friday, October 31st on Fox. And Game 7, if needed, will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday, November 1st, All Saints Day on Fox. Before we take a step aside, PJ, some big news coming out this morning, and you got 2 Italians on the screen right now. Well, guess what? The NBA has there's information getting released here this morning that Portland Trailblazers coach and former player and former Toronto Raptor, Chauncey Billups, and former Boston Celtic and Detroit Piston, Chauncey Billups, was arrested this morning in conjunction with an illegal gambling investigation, according to multiple reports. This gambling investigation is in ties to the mafia in the NBA right now.
Oh, my goodness.
So it is in ties to the mob. Just want to let people know here. So an illegal poker operation tied to the mafia, and Billups is in his 5th season as head coach of the Portland Trailblazers. He was arrested this morning in Oregon, and then separately, Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier and former Cleveland Cavaliers player and assistant coach Damon Jones also charged in a separate but related illegal gambling ring. FBI Director Kash Patel is expected to announce the charges along with other law enforcement during a news conference today in New York City. Maybe there's more names, but the mob is apparently alive and well, as the mafia connected to the NBA and Chauncey Billups with an illegal poker operation. Or I'm sorry, gambling operation, not poker. Illegal gambling operation. My apologies. I didn't mean to say poker. I was thinking casino, but the mob is going to be talked about this morning if you thought that they went away. An illegal gambling operation connected to the NBA. And it will be discussed apparently by Cash Patel potentially during the show here this morning, PJ.
Well, this is, another elitist to think that these guys can get away with anything. Dumb move by Chauncey and the rest of these clowns. There's so much. There's live poker on TV all the time. Why don't they go to something like that instead of trying to do? You know why? Because they play for higher stakes. Yeah. They think the NBA players, that they got money and stuff like that, they suck them in, put them at a table, and then beat the hell out of them. That's a bad move. This disturbs me. Because these guys, even with the college gambling thing too, the kids that get busted for college, there's no reason for the guys to do this. Come on. Chauncey Billups played for many years. Now he's a coach. Of course, he won't be a coach after this anymore. They'll fire him right away, I'm sure. Certainly made millions of dollars over the years. And if the mob gets into you, especially with the juice, you're not going to get away. If you borrow $500,000 with the juice at $50,000 after $500, you got to pay the juice before you pay back the initial draw. Bad move on these guys.
Yeah. So
Daniel, before we take a break, I want to just say something about the World Series matchup.
Yeah.
We got the matchups with the pitchers and everything. That's no here or there. But what we may see on the fourth game, which will be in Los Angeles, is that they're going to throw Ohtani. And there's a good chance that he'll face Max Scherzer. Now, folks, if you're not aware of the stature of these guys, you're going to see a pitching matchup between two Hall of Famers, period. Ohtani will certainly be a Hall of Famer when he stops playing baseball. Max Scherzer, if he ever stops playing baseball, is a shoe-in because he's the three-time Cy Young Award winner. This could be the young against the old, the hard against the tricky. It could be really a matchup for the ages. Ohtani against Scherzer.
Yeah, no, and that would be huge. And again, like I said, seeing these names, Bieber and Scherzer and Ohtani and Yamamoto and Snell, and of course, Old Faithful Clayton Kershaw, it's going to be exciting to see this series that will start this Friday, October 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox in Toronto. Once again, World Series. And before we take a step aside, just to make the note for you, in case you missed anything, the NBA under investigation by the FBI for an illegal gambling operation tied to the mafia. We will take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Never a dull moment. We'll be back right after this, where sports meets life, inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942. And tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny
are you.
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Happy to be here with you inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City, available on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday for sales and service. Go and see them. Let them know the DT sent you. You can get a sneak peek of their inventory by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. If you're just joining us here after the break that we had, talking about the World Series and all that is to come that starts this Friday, October 24th, and to remind you that the mob is alive and well, with the Mafia being connected to the NBA. A press conference from FBI Director Kash Patel coming this morning, October 23rd, on an illegal gambling operation having to do with the Mafia. Trailblazer coach Chauncey Billups has been arrested in this illegal gambling investigation linked to the Mafia. Current NBA player Terry Rozier of the Miami Heat, an NBA player and assistant coach alum Damon Jones, also charged in what's being called a separate but related illegal gambling case involving sports betting and insider information. A press conference about the mob, PJ, in 2025. Did you think that was going to happen?
Well, I'm a little surprised. I told you, these guys, my opinion of these guys, all of these star baseball and football and basketball players, they think they're elitist. They think that they're above everyone. They think they can do anything. They can drive there they want to. They can do this kind of things. And believe me, if this is true, which I have no doubt it is, it's probably going to be the tip of the iceberg, because I'll guarantee you, other players are going to be involved in this, not just these guys. So we'll see where. I don't know how they figured it out, but I always remembered when I was growing up in Syracuse, there was always poker games going on any day of the week, and they were illegal, of course, because gambling wasn't thought upon very nicely back then. It was illegal. And my grandfather used to tell me all the time where there would be poker games, and the stakes were pretty high for them back then, because no one made a good living. But for them, $1,000 pot was huge. Now these guys play for a $500,000 pot, and if you don't do it, you're out. And they described earlier that if you have to borrow the money from the mob, usury, the juice is so high that you won't be able to pay back any of the principal, because you got to pay the juice, or interest is what I'm trying to say. Juice is juice. And most of the time, if you borrow from the mob, it's not a 10%, it's probably 15 or 20%. So if you borrow $100,000 and you got to pay 20% usury, that's an enormous amount of money before you even pay back some of the principal. It's a terrible situation, and I blame these guys for not visually seeing that they just can't do whatever they want to do without some ramifications, and that's unfortunate. Now Chauncey Billups is a good coach, and he was a good player, and now he's going to lose his job. He's going to be, if it's true, he's going to be stained for his entire career and his life. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but if I was certainly Portland, and Portland's going to do their due diligence, if that's the case, then they're probably going to terminate him, and whatever else is going to happen. So this will be an ongoing story, and of course, when I get off the air here, I'll dive into it and see just how deep it goes and where it goes. I still have tentacles out in the gambling industry they'll give me a hand on this and see if they know anything else.
Yeah, and again, legalizing sports betting, people, once you started bringing this stuff in, did you honestly think that legalizing it and trying to promote it and push it and have all this stuff happening, betting, there's another side to it, and some people get very involved for sometimes large amounts of money. There was an NBA player in recent history that was banned for life for betting against his team and feigning an injury to try and help with the bet that he was making. So it's crazy, but we will see. Kash Patel this morning, if he wasn't busy already, gets to talk about the NBA and the Mafia and illegal gambling. This will, of course, definitely be carried, and you could be sure that Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora will discuss it as we go forward. Here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, it's time for PJ and I to take a look back at college football Week 8 to see how we did. So let's bring up that screen and let you take a look at the recap of our picks. So PJ
Daniel,
and I, college
Daniel,
football.
before you start,
Yeah.
I have to get things off my chest
Oh,
about the
yes.
Florida.
I'm sorry. I didn't even think about the fact that you have to woof about Billy Napier. Hold on. Go
Oh,
ahead.
jeez.
Yeah.
Now, if you haven't had your head in the sand in the last week, you'll know that Florida dumped their coach, Billy Napier, after this last game against Mississippi State, which they won, by the way.
Yeah.
But would have lost, certainly, if the defensive tackle wasn't the way they got intercept the ball. You heard me on this telecast for years saying, let things play out the year. Don't fire someone in the middle of the year, because now you've impacted so many lives by making this mood because you're greedy and you want to get a new guy in there. But in the meantime, you're not going to hire anyone because no one's going to come work for you till the end of the year. So why do you wait? Why don't you wait till the end of the year? My Bull Gators are all pissed, I'll tell you. However, this is not a situation that wasn't without merit. Billy Napier was a good coach in certain situations. He was in over his head in the SEC. Now, the SEC is one, and maybe the Big Ten is 1A. But those conferences, now with the addition of Oklahoma and Texas, are so brutal. The schedule is so hard. And the monies they're paying these coaches, they're on the hook for a lot of money here for Billy Napier. The same with Franklin at Penn State. Not only could Billy Napier could not move the ball offensively, and he was supposed to be an offensive guru. He didn't do it. He didn't use the most talented quarterback that come out of high school last year to lead his team. He didn't use him properly.
Yeah.
We saw at the end of last year he did well. This year, never threw the ball down the field. He's mismanaged games. Billy Napier, for being such an offensive mind, was not right for Florida. Now, I gave him all the credit in the world because I don't want to see this. I hated to see it. I started crying, and I do that because I cry for the teams, the guys that were on the team over these years. I cry for the school. I cry for the recruits that are now left in limbo. Florida's got a heck of a recruiting class coming in. Now, when you're in the middle of the season and you fire your coach.
Yeah.
Granted, they have an off week, and Strickland says, "Well, I terminated Billy. Now we can get things gearing up again. We have an open date, and then we play Georgia." Well, what can happen in an open date that maybe hasn't been tried before with Billy Napier in 3.5 years? Maybe an offensive mind comes in. I understand that Steve Spurrier Jr. is not going to be probably the head of the offensive class. He's got a brilliant mind too. Maybe he'll use DJ Lagway the way he's supposed to. But, God's sakes, people. Franklin, Billy, the rest of the 4 or 5 other guys, the guy from Virginia Tech, Colorado State now lost, fired it. Why do you do this in the middle of the year? Now, with the transfer portal and everything, Florida played a true freshman backfield, defensive backfield against Mississippi State last week. Now, you've got these freshmen. We have 2 All-American freshmen wide receivers, Vernell Brown and Dallas Wilson. Now you've got these kids, a true sophomore, Jaden Ball, carrying the ball. He's got 8 or 10 true freshmen that play the game.
Yeah.
And what are they left with? They're left with, what am I going to do? A transfer portal. They're already thinking transfer portal. What are you going to say? Of course they're going to think transfer portal. Now, what coach is going to come in and try to talk these kids out of the transfer portal and the NIL? If they're not already calling, they're already calling these kids. I'll guarantee you that. I'm sure DJ Lagway's phone, he probably turned his phone off. Just look at the damage that you've done by jump starting your search by throwing a guy out in the middle of your, who's very Christian man, a wonderful guy, a really good coach, just not in this situation. He was overmatched, I agree. But please, I mean, you set everything back 5 years probably by throwing this guy out mid-year. The kids, the recruits now are sitting at their kitchen tables with their parents. Dad, what am I going to do? Hey, son, you committed to Florida. Well, I didn't sign it yet. I can reopen my recruitness. You know, it's going to come to that. Now, the only way that I can see that they can get out of this is if they do their due diligence. What's the course they're going to do? And they're going to come up with a big name coach. All right, the lines are blowing up. We know that Lane Kiffin is the walks on water, for crying out loud. And Florida is, I'm sure, going to try him.
Yeah.
If they haven't already. I have 4 or 5 names that we can discuss that perhaps can fit the bill, but it hurts me. Hurts me for Billy Napier, hurts me for the team, hurts me for the recruiting class, hurts me for the students. It's not right. It's not good. It's not right. And Steve Spurrier came out on the air the other day and he says, listen, it's not the way it used to be. It's now pay for play. And if you're not paying for playing, you're not going to win. So what happens to Billy Napier? He has a good team, a young team, a good recruiting class coming in. He's out. Now the next guy is going to have to pay for play and try to make it work. Folks, we're talking about coaches that make millions and millions of dollars a year. Franklin and Billy Napier, $10 million a year. Kiffin, $9 million a year. If you're going to try to drag a coach away from their school and sign him to Florida, it's going to take a huge amount of money. If you're going to try to nail Lane Kiffin, you're going to have to, this is the Bull Gators I'm talking. You're going to have to not only buy out Billy's contract, which is $21 million, but you have to buy out Ole Miss's contract, which is $50 million. Then you'd have to go to sign Lane Kiffin for $12 million a year. Where does it end? I saw an article yesterday that they're still after Mike Norvell at FSU, and the guys are screaming, well, we got to get rid of our coach. Well, Mike Norvell's buyout is $73 million.
Yeah.
Think about that. $73 million. Now, and they're saying that Florida State will be broke if they do that because they haven't shared in any revenue the ACC. How do you justify firing Franklin in the middle of the year, Billy Napier in the middle of the year, and the other coaches that I won't get into? I don't know what to say. I don't know. I was so shocked that Strickland did this that I thought maybe I didn't hear it right. You just don't fire a coach in the middle of the year. I believe that. You've heard me over the years say that. I don't like it, and it's certainly this one hurt me badly, Daniel.
Well, and like you said, and I mean, this is, you do it in the middle of the season. What's the point of doing it in the middle of the season? And you're trying to light a fire under your team, or you're trying to get your team to, find their way, find their place, just have a, something to wake them up or give them some type of energy that they don't have. But the reality of it all is, I mean, listen, this has been, it's something you and I talk about all the time, is yes, it happens, but why do it during the season? Why do it, and especially knowing that we have open season when it comes to the transfer portal, where, people being called. I mean, I've talked to ADs and I've talked to coaches. People are being called. Players are being called. There is constant, going around the system, whatever the system is or claims to be right now. There's plenty going on when it comes to this system of just constantly talking to players. And if anybody thinks that these schools are not being recruited right now, that these kids that are not there, the kids that are there, I mean, that roster is getting phone calls right now. The rosters that are at Florida, Penn State, Oregon State, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, UCLA, Virginia Tech, Stanford, who has interim Frank Reich, Colorado State, UAB, Kent State, they're all getting phone calls. Trent Dilfer talked with me about it at UAB when he first took the job. He said, people know my roster better than I do, meaning that people were literally, studying and gauging who was on his team. We can't call this pro sports because pro sports has rules. Pro sports has rosters. When you're under contract, you're under contract. You cannot be talked to when you are under contract. So that's not what happens in college athletics. Okay, these guys talk when they're they talk when they sign their national, they talk when they verbally commit, they talk when they sign their national letter of intent, they talk during the season, they talk when the season's over. There's 2 open dates for the portal. There should only be 1. And right now the open date's terrible. And that's another conversation. You got an open date when the regular season ends, but during the postseason, which screws up all the bowl games, screws up the college football playoff. Then you have the open date for the transfer portal that's right after spring ball. So you go through your spring, you hand somebody the playbook, you teach them everything, all the nuances of your team, and then after spring ball, after the spring game, they say, sayonara, coach, have a good day. I'm going somewhere else. I'm going to take this Georgia playbook over to Florida. So, I mean, this is what's happening. This is the world we're living in. We can't call it professional athletics because professional athletics has rules. There's tampering charges that happen in professional athletics. You're not allowed to talk to people that are on other rosters that are under contract. And if people think that that's not happening right now, then you have your head in the sand. You're trying to believe something that doesn't exist. It is happening, folks. Wake up. It's reality. This is where we are at now. If you think that Penn State's entire roster plus all their recruits haven't been called before, during, and after the firing of James Franklin, you're not paying attention. This is the world that we live in now. Because there are no parameters, because there are no rules, because there's nothing to stop it, this is what happens. If we were going to bring up charges on tampering, Lord knows how long that list would be. So, yeah, Papa Joe has a great point. You fire your coach during the season, and now you're going to have people calling DJ Lagway and everybody else if they haven't called him already. The conversations will continue. These rosters will be rated. And who knows what Penn State's going to look like? Who knows what Florida's going to look like? You may not want to have your coach that you currently have, but now you've created another problem for yourself. And that problem is with all of your recruits and with everybody on your roster. Because now, as you try to figure out an interim, you're going to be playing cleanup duty. You're going to have to find a way. Because even if these coaches had stayed on the team, they might have still had to go through this. Because coaches, Nick Saban went through this. Dabo Swinney has gone through this. When guys are jumping in the portal after spring ball at Clemson and Alabama, don't tell me it's not for the money. Because why the hell would you leave Alabama or Clemson? Unless you were lied to, unless the coach told you something that wasn't true. And in that case, okay, I understand. But look at where we are right now. Look at what's happening and stop thinking that this is not going to be even more prevalent now that all of these moves have been made. I'm going to give you a list of coaches that have been let go in the FBS. This is where we're at right now. These are the programs that have a vacancy at head coach. Stanford had it going into the season with Troy Taylor. Firing him, bringing in Frank Reich. It's the first time I ever saw a school talk about a coach and bring him into the season saying, this is an interim coach. He knows he's an interim coach. He's a placeholder right now. Now, I think that he was put as an interim so that Andrew Luck, who went to Stanford and is now working there at Stanford to try and build up this football program, I think that this move, they said interim, they pitched interim so that everybody backed off of Frank Reich. they left him alone. They'll assess him after a year, and if things are going well, if things are going in the right direction, if recruiting is going well, maybe they keep him. I think they said interim out of the gate to get people to take the sniff off of him and to leave him alone. So that was the first one. We also have Colorado State, Jay Norvell, trying to fire another Norvell down in Tallahassee, as PJ brought up. But Jay Norvell let go from Colorado State. Kent State has let go of Kenny Burns. Virginia Tech of Brent Pry. Shortly after I interviewed him. It was, a couple months after? UCLA, Deshaun Foster. UAB, Trent Dilfer that I mentioned. Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy, who had been there for 1,000,000 years. Arkansas, Sam Pittman. And if anybody thinks that Bobby Petrino's not getting the job at Arkansas, you're not paying attention. Oregon State, Trent Bray. Penn State, James Franklin. And Florida, Billy Napier. That means that right now, in just Division 1A football in the NCAA, inside of the FBS, there are now 11 head coaching vacancies. 11 opportunities. And players that are left on this roster wondering, what are we doing the rest of the season here? So, this is where we're at, PJ. This is college football now. This is the world of collegiate athletics. This is the world that we live in. 11 vacancies during the season.
True. You said you're very right. What I've compiled is a short list of who I think could be available for the Florida job. And of course, the big one is Lane Kiffin. There's no doubt about it. I sent you a note earlier this week that I heard down here that John Gruden is available to talk about the game, the coach. That floored me too. I didn't know John Gruden wanted to get back in the game, but he does. Anyway, we got Lane Kiffin for sure. We got Ed Drinkwitz from Missouri, who's done a hell of a job with their team. Great job. Alec Golish from USF. You're one of your favorite teams. And you guys, Vanderbilt head coach Clark Lee, James Franklin. There is, I don't know how you go about trying to hire a coach now. You can say you're doing your due diligence, we're doing this, we're vetting and everything like that. That's BS. You know, what are you going to do? You're gonna try to hire Lane Kiffin, and a month later you're gonna say, well, we've got to hire Lane Kiffin to be a coach at Florida. What's he going to do? He can't do anything. He's got a big team that he's preparing for the playoffs.
Right.
I personally don't think that they have a chance to get Lane Kiffin. However, there's one coach that I like a lot, and that is Jed Fish from Washington. Well, he's done a good job there. He turns around that program in a couple of years. Also, he's a University of Florida alumnus. He played ball for Spurrier back then. He's offensive-minded also, so I look for Jed Fish to be in there. But I'm talking through my head. I mean, there are probably another 5 guys out there that are available to talk to about the job too. You know, it's flummery right now. I don't want to hear anything unless it's absolutely certain, and that's not going to happen anytime soon. Not unless you get a coach that's already fired who wants to come in and babysit the team for 6 months before he actually starts recruiting again. I don't see that happening. I don't see anyone taking any of the jobs that you mentioned anytime soon. Mike Gundy. How do you replace Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State for 18 years? Franklin for 12 years. You know, to beat up on Franklin is he couldn't win the big games. That's true. So if he couldn't win them 3 or 4 years in a row, why are you getting rid of him now? He's not gonna beat it anymore again this year. So, you know, why not wait till the end of the year? You know, Napier could be in the same thing. He can't win the big ones. He can't. He can't beat Georgia. He can't beat Alabama. He can't beat Miami. He beat Florida State once. Big deal. So I don't know where it's going, Daniel, but I was really hurt, and I have been thinking about it and talking about it myself for the last week or so. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is where we're at right now. You know, this, and we've seen coaches get fired before during the season. We've seen this happen. But like I said, now living in the world of open season, when it comes to talking to players on rosters and talking to players that have committed and are intending to sign, we're living in a world where there are no parameters. The parameters that they say are seemingly fake feeling, and who's getting in trouble. So, right, some people say better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Mm-hmm. So this is where we're at right now. And James Franklin, he had a terrible record against the nation's top 10 for a long time, and you kept him. Here's my question that I've consistently asked, because Penn State gets the unfair high ranking and high praise when they haven't done anything. How do you have a coach who went 4-21 against the nation's top 10 and make his team a top 10 team every year? He's won 4 games in 25 shots against the top 10, but you consider them a top 10 team. They can't beat the top 10, so they can join it. If that's what we're saying, if you can't beat them, join them. So in that case, how many teams should be in the top 10 right now? Why was Penn State in the top 10 when they can't beat the top 10? They say you can't let the American in, they don't beat the top 10. They say you can't let the Sun Belt in, they don't beat the top 10. Can't let the MAC in, they don't beat the top 10. But the top 10 can't beat each other? Top 10 can't win? I said over and over this season, the irrational, illogical placing of Penn State. And then when it ends up being right, this isn't the first time that I've called out something that didn't make sense in the polls. And I think we've had the last 2 elections for president, and they read off the polls, and how right were those polls? So it seems like polling doesn't always show you the truth. And when it comes to the coaches poll and the AP, I don't know what they're doing. But I scratch my head and think, how is Indiana better than Alabama right now? I scratch my head and think, could Ohio State beat Georgia head-to-head right now? Have they been challenged enough? We'll see. PJ, if it's okay with you, I'd like to make an announcement about something that you don't know and that I get to share this year. I was approached recently for an opportunity in college football nationally. The nation's most outstanding wide receiver, the top receiver in the entire country, every year receives the Biletnikoff Award. And the Biletnikoff Award has reached out to me, and I will now be voting in the national committee for the nation's top wide receiver in the Biletnikoff Award, representing my company, Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, and WakeUpCallDT.com.
That's great news, Dan. Congratulations on that. That's wonderful. Well, you know the game very well, and I'm sure you'll make the very best selection. That's good. That's good news.
So,
very good news.
Very excited about that. Very excited for the opportunity, and happy to also be voting nationally with another thing that's out there every week. So happy to be doing that and appreciate it. And I thank God first and foremost. I thank the wonderful people that have given me an opportunity. And I thank just hard work, dedication, determination, and a little kid trying to live his dream and God letting him do it. So all the thanks goes to you, God, and also to the people that gave an opportunity and going out there and working hard and believing in yourself, kids of all ages. Don't ever think that you can't do what you love and love what you do. With that being said, PJ and I, by the grace of God, get to do this every week together. We're going to take a look at our college football Week 8 picks and how we did. So we'll start with that Miami game. The Miami Hurricanes faced off against the Louisville Cardinals. I warned you about Louisville at the beginning of the season, and apparently didn't feel like listening to myself this past week. As the Louisville Cardinals went into Miami, took down Miami 24-21. Louisville was not ranked at the time, with a record of 4-1, are now 5-1, and they are in my rankings. They're also in the national rankings, but not as high as I think they should be. In my rankings, I have them at 15 in the country. Miami in my rankings dropped to 10. PJ and I got that wrong, so we will cross that out. Louisville, such a dangerous team.
Daniel, just a minute.
Yeah.
Just another tidbit here. Jeff Brom, the coach of Louisville, is also mentioned as a successor at Florida.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. You'd be getting a hell of a coach because he has been dangerous. Doesn't matter where they're ranked or what people think of them. And that should tell you, folks, it don't matter what anybody says on the outside. It matters what you believe on the inside and how you work that into reality. Nebraska at Minnesota. Minnesota won the game and took down number 25 ranked Nebraska, so PJ and I got that one wrong. Cal on the West Coast, their game ended, I believe, after 1 a.m. And they defeated North Carolina in the Atlantic Coast Conference, a game on the Pacific Coast. Figure that out. So Cal wins 21-18. Bill Bellies, man, the Patriots are doing really well under Mike Vrabel, and the Tar Heels under Bill Belichick, 2-4. It's been a rough season. Kind of makes you sit here and go, how'd they win 2 games? But then when you look at it, you say, well, they played Charlotte and they played Richmond. And those are the 2 wins that they have. They've lost to TCU, at UCF, Clemson, and at California. And guess who they have coming up this week? Number 16th ranked Virginia. Then they come to Syracuse for a spooktacular event on Halloween night, Friday, October 31st. And I will be pre-gaming with Isaac Alford at Myers Creek in the Syracuse Inner Harbor for Wake Up Call Game Day Live, Friday, October 31st at 4:30 p.m., followed by the game at 7:30. The next that we have up here, PJ and I taking a look at this big board, and the next game that we have that we predicted was the game that brought us into the LSU matchup, and that LSU matchup was a game that I think has put LSU in a position where they are one step away from falling into the abyss this year. They lost to Vanderbilt 31-24. I toyed with the idea, but I didn't, and PJ and I both got it wrong because we did not pick Vanderbilt. Shout out to Clark Lee, former Syracuse linebacker coach under Scott Schaefer, who then went on to Notre Dame, who is the head coach of Vanderbilt. He needs to be talked about a little bit more. Georgia Tech defeated Duke 27-18. Get PJ and I on the winning side of things. Georgia Tech is 7-0. I thought the committee, I was like, man, will the AP and the coaches poll consider putting them in the top 10? Because I think they should be, and they both did. They put them at 7. I have Georgia Tech in my poll going into College Football Week 9 at 8th overall. Then the Oklahoma-South Carolina game, I thought maybe South Carolina could trip them up here. Oklahoma wins the game 26-7 on the road. So PJ got that right. I got it wrong. Texas A&M, it was a fight. It was a battle, but they stayed undefeated. Texas A&M 45-42. I believe Indiana is one step in front of Texas A&M just because Indiana's win over Oregon looks better than any of Texas A&M wins so far. The Georgia Dogs, they won their game 43-35 up against Ole Miss. The Lane train stopped at the station in Georgia and left without being undefeated. So the Lane train takes their first loss. Georgia gets the win. And like PJ said, if you announce Lane Kiffin as your coach, number one, it's tampering. And number two, okay, so he's your coach within the next 8 weeks from now? Because Ole Miss is trying to go to the college football playoff. We take a look at the Florida Gators and discuss the idea that Billy Napier lost his job despite the win. He got booed at home, even after the victory. Florida over Mississippi State, 23-21, and apparently they still booed him. And then he lost his job. God bless to Billy Napier, his family, and I hope that he lands in a place that appreciates him, that he appreciates, and that things go well for Mr. Napier, as well as everybody who was on that list that we mentioned before and anyone else involved. God bless them all, because we don't wish bad on people here. Texas defeats Kentucky 16-13 in overtime, takes Arch Manning and the crew everything to get there, but PJ and I got the win. USC up against Notre Dame, and guess what? Notre Dame has their first quality win of the season. They're 5-2. They had 4 unranked wins before this. They lost to 2 ranked teams. And what did people say? Well, they only lost to those 2 ranked teams by a combined 4 points. They tried really hard, Dan. Even though they didn't win, they did a good job, Dan. Well, good. What does that mean? When you don't win the national championship, do they give you a smaller version of the trophy? Does the college football playoff say, good job, little buddy, you get a gold star? No. They give a championship to the champion, and then everybody else is not a champion. So why are we championing Notre Dame in the top 15 in the country? They're number 21 in my poll. Because what have they done? They beat USC, who I don't really believe is that great of a team this year. And that's their only quality win this season. And I have 20 teams that I think are better than that. Notre Dame won. USC did not. PJ and I got it wrong. But whoever thinks that Notre Dame is 12 or 13 in the country, I don't know what drugs they're pumping into your building, but we need to check that thing out, and we need to make sure that you're okay. Somebody put an IV in their arm and start pumping in some fluids, because I think these people are making some bad, rash decisions. There might be some type of chemicals in the air. Alabama up against Tennessee wins the game, and Tennessee, they're on their last leg too. I still got them in the top 25. But it's a dangerous road. And to the people that think that Michigan has a 14% chance of making it to the college football playoff, I'll take more than half of the SEC before that happens. Let's take a look at the Pittsburgh game. Pitt blew out Syracuse. We don't have, no, they didn't blow out Syracuse. Syracuse's defense showed up. The offense did not. Syracuse's offense was MIA, and so was Miami, which is their initials. Syracuse losing that game to Pittsburgh 30-13. My co-host, Isaac Alford, predicted 31-13. So shout out to Isaac, because he was right there. So we'll take a look at PJ. So he went 1-3, 2-3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 4. PJ went 9-4 this week, and I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I went 8. Oh, no, that's not right at all. I did that wrong. So let me go ahead and do this. So that's 1, 2. That's 1 2. 1 3, 2 3, 3 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 3, 8 3, 9 3. Yeah, 9-4 for PJ. I went 1 2, 1 3, 2 3, and then that's 2 4, 3 4, 4 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's 8-5 is how I went. So I actually did end up with a winning. This is what happens when you go to bed at 4:15 in the morning. You have to count twice. So PJ went 9-4 in college football week 8. I went 8-5. The way we started this thing off, I was like, oh, we're going to have a losing record. But neither one of us did. Notes on college football week 8. So we're going to try and thaw PJ out here. We might have a frozen feed here. Oh, there he is. So PJ, any final thoughts on week 8?
No, it was a good. I had my mind elsewhere. I didn't even watch the ball game. I actually didn't watch anything. I did. I have to say, I watched the Georgia Mississippi game, and I'm thinking to myself, Lane Kiffin was an admirer of Steve Spurrier. He was his hero. He wanted to do everything that Steve Spurrier did, including wearing a visor. So, if you want to know where Lane Kiffin's head might be right now, is that if Florida can give me, he's making $9 million a year now, $9 million a year. If Florida can give me $10 million and they buy out my contract, how come?
Yeah.
Maybe he's thinking about that and not thinking about the next game. But he certainly is he's come a long way from the days when he was on the sideline being yelled at by Nick Saban. What did Nick Saban? He got everything right when he left the game. When he did, he had everything right because things are falling apart big time. Terrible. And these kids are making hundreds of thousands of dollars and not even going to class. We'll figure that one, Daniel.
Yeah. If you thought some people weren't going to class before, well, when you're making this much money, folks, we got to figure it out. You got to put a fence around the horses or you're going to be chasing them every night. I keep telling you this. But eventually the NCAA is going to have to listen or they're going to render themselves obsolete, which they've almost done. Made a prediction over 7 years ago that the NCAA, 5 to 10 years from that time period, which we're already there because we're 7+ in, I said 5 to 10 years from now, the NCAA will look drastically different if they exist at all. Well, they look drastically different and they kind of feel like they don't even exist anymore. So unfortunately, that has come true. And that's only because the NCAA has decided to really just not do anything logical recently or in the past. Let's take a look at college football week 9, PJ, as we go into this week, my birthday week. There were games on my birthday. On October 21st, Kennesaw State beat FIU. You know who else beat FIU? Penn State. So that was one of their very few wins this season that made them a number 2 team in the country at one point. So, you get exposed, I guess, eventually. Nobody can hide under a rock forever. But Kennesaw State defeats FIU, and Kennesaw State, yeah, that's a good thing. I think they had a better win over FIU. Western Kentucky defeats Louisiana Tech in overtime, 28-27. And yesterday, on Wednesday, October 22nd, Delaware, the Blue Hens, who transitioned into FBS play, they defeated Middle Tennessee 31-28 inside of Conference USA. And there was an overtime game on Wednesday as well, with Missouri State defeating New Mexico State 24-17 in overtime. Tonight, South Alabama will be at Georgia State, and on Friday, during the World Series going on, North Texas at Charlotte, Cal at Virginia Tech, and Boise State at Nevada. PJ, let's jump into Indiana's schedule, which is against a bunch of crap teams this season, record-wise, not disrespecting institution, simply talking about record. Indiana should go 12-0 because the only tough game they had was Oregon. This is Indiana's schedule. UCLA, at Maryland, at Penn State, Wisconsin, Purdue. You want to know where these teams stack up? Cool, I'll tell you. Wisconsin's 2-5, 0-4 in the Big Ten. Purdue's 2-5, 0-4 in the Big Ten. Penn State's 3-4, 0-4 in the Big Ten. Maryland's 4-3, 1-3 in the Big Ten. UCLA's 3-4, but they are 3-1 in the Big Ten. That's what Indiana has left on their schedule, folks. They have 2 teams that fired their coach and a bunch of teams that have done absolutely nothing this season. And if they win, they'll keep them in the top 2 in the country probably, PJ. So here's a question for you. Does Indiana at home defeat a team with an interim head coach in UCLA?
Oh, boy. No, I don't know if Foster would be there if they had a chance with him being there. I don't think so. I guess most of the country, especially the coaches, are looking at the contract that their coach Sig signed, which is huge. I think he's the 3rd highest paid coach in the country, and have never won any good big games. That's what they're saying. But I like Indy.
Yeah, I'm going with Indiana here. Again, I credit them with the win over Oregon. I applaud it. And I look at the rest of their schedule and I say, what does this schedule do to warrant being one of the top 2 teams in the nation and have a bye in the first round? I'm happy for Kurt Cignetti, and Mendoza came over from Cal. So Cal's got a good quarterback now. and they got a good quarterback who's now at Indiana via the transfer portal. So shout out to Cal and what they're doing. Shout out to Mendoza, what he's doing at Indy. Shout out to Signetti, who's getting at least $11 million a year in his extension. I just ask a question. Indiana, and when Indiana beats UCLA, they'll keep them in the top 2. But when Memphis beat UCLA years ago with Chip Kelly as the coach, people said, who cares? So now when you beat an interim coach, it's supposed to matter more than beating Chip Kelly years ago? Make that make sense to me. So, proud of Cincinnati, but they should be undefeated because the rest of their season is like sitting in a lawn chair eating s'mores under the stars. Next game that we have, PJ, which I'd love to do, by the way. Ole Miss at Oklahoma. Oklahoma, they got a tough road to hoe. They got to play Ole Miss at Tennessee, at Alabama, Missouri, LSU. As of right now, every single one of those 5 teams is ranked. See that, Indiana? Some people play ranked teams. What do you have for this one, PJ, as Ole Miss goes to Oklahoma? Is Oklahoma going to knock themselves out of the CFP? Or will they still have life, and will Ole Miss have their second loss of the season?
I think Oklahoma's quarterback is now playing significantly better because his thumb is being repaired as we speak. He certainly wears a little baby cast on it that he can grip the ball and throw it, because I think he's going to need it. I don't know if Lane Kiffin has such a great offensive mind, and he's doing it with his second string quarterback, who happened to be an All-American for Ferris State, wherever the hell that is. And he's doing it. I'm going to pick Ole Miss for this upset, Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, Ole Miss here, to me, they're a CFP team. They can't trip up in this game. Oklahoma's at home, but I'm going to give Lane credit and say he doesn't lose 2 in a row. But how about this? If Oklahoma gets their second loss of the season, they should jump Notre Dame, because Notre Dame jumped so many others for being 5-2. So why not let them jump? Oklahoma's only loss is to their rival Texas, who came with them from the Big 12. The next one we have up here, Pete, we're both going with Ole Miss. Next one we have here, PJ, South Florida at Memphis. South Florida is ranked in the top 20 right now. When they face off against Memphis, Memphis took their first loss of the season this past week against UAB, with UAB's interim head coach after firing Trent Dilfer, who is the son of the late, great Chris Mortensen. God bless him in heaven. Now Memphis will be welcoming in South Florida. South Florida is 6-1. They beat 2 ranked teams and knocked them both out of the polls, Boise State and at Florida, to start the season. Then they played Miami. They played 3 ranked teams in their non-conference schedule already, something Penn State never does. And they lost to Miami, and they got thrown out of the top 25. And then they fought their way back in. Since giving up 49 points to Miami and scoring 12, they scored 63 against SC State, 54 against Charlotte, 63 at North Texas, and 48 against FAU. You think their offense is mad? Well, now they have an opportunity to play Memphis. Does Memphis take their second loss after taking their first loss of the season? Memphis was the first team to become bowl eligible at 6-0 this year and wasn't ranked the whole way through until they got to 6-0. They lost this past week, were thrown out of the rankings, something that doesn't happen to Notre Dame, and now they're hosting a South Florida team that seemingly is on a rampage. Who wins this game?
You got me a believer of South Florida after that game against Florida. I just didn't think they could match up well against Florida. Well, I was wrong then, and I'm wrong now, but I'm still going to stay with South Florida. I think it's a great story. And their coach, of course, is one of the ones I mentioned to take over for Florida, too. So watch out for him.
Alex Golish bounced around the country and was most recently at Tennessee before he became a head coach for the first time ever for South Florida. He's got them into a bowl game in back-to-back years. I love talking to him. We've built a great relationship on and off the air. He's done a tremendous job. I'm going with South Florida. Got a relationship with Memphis and Ryan Silverfield and Mike Norvell before that and Justin Fuente before that. This is a tough game for me. But if you're the American, you want South Florida to win because right now they're the one to lead you into the college football playoff. I respect Memphis. I respect South Florida. I'm going to give South Florida the edge. But if Memphis wins this game, they'll find a way to punish them both in the polls somehow. Missouri at Vanderbilt. Missouri, PJ, hasn't done anything. They lost to Alabama. They beat Auburn, who's a spoiler. They beat South Carolina, who's not good this year. They beat Central Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana, and UMass. And everybody beats UMass these days. So I don't know why Missouri, I know they're in the SEC, but they're ranked really high at 16. I don't have them ranked that high. I was trying to figure out where the heck to put them. They're playing number 10 Vanderbilt. Does Vandy win again?
Well, Vanderbilt has really been impressive this year, especially last week. I mean, they are. I'm going to stick with the way Missouri's been playing. They played Alabama tough. I think I'm going to stay with them.
So PJ's going to go with Mizzou. I am going to go with Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, such a good team right now. In my opinion, to make the college football playoff at the moment, Vanderbilt of the SEC. Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Alabama, and Georgia. I got those 5 on my list right now. And Texas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, they still got a shot. How about this, though? Missouri and Vanderbilt, recent history, considered the bottom feeders of the SEC. Some said the SEC should kick them out. And now they're both in the top 20. Vanderbilt should be in the top 10, and they are. Missouri, they got some work to do. But we'll see how they go from here. Next one we have up here, PJ, is going to bring us to Texas at Mississippi State. Texas already has 2 losses. They can't have 3. What happens?
I think Texas wins this game easy.
I'm going to go with Texas here, but this is the problem with hype. They hyped up Arch Manning for so long, for so many years, that anything that he does, they critique that it's not enough. And it's unfortunate because I think they put a lot of undue stress on this kid that he's going to have to shake off because other people's opinions of you are none of your business. Play your game, young man. I got Texas over Mississippi State. Guess who Oregon gets to play this week? Wisconsin. And Mary, I hope you're not within an earshot because the Wisconsin Badgers aren't scaring anybody right now. What do you got, PJ?
One of my brother-in-laws, I told him, I said, we just lost our coach. And he says, well, that's okay because I don't think we are going to win a game this year in the Big Ten. So that shows you how much influence they don't have. I don't like Wisconsin. Put it that way.
Yeah, I'm going with Oregon in this game, so going with them to win. I still think Oregon has an opportunity to get into the college football playoff. Indiana's got the win over them, but that's the only loss they've taken this season. Stanford at Miami, PJ. Stanford has had some good moments. They found ways to come up. They defeated FSU. So what about Miami? Can they do it, or is it Miami?
Oh, they won't slip up now, Daniel. Miami looks strong in this game.
Well, I said in these last few years, under different head coaches, Miami's found a way to beat themselves and knock themselves out. And, well, I mean, they got beat fair and square, but I'm saying Miami's found a way. They've tripped up. Could have won this, could have won that, could have gotten here, could have gotten there. I wasn't trusting they were going to go undefeated. They didn't, but I do have them beating Stanford. Texas A&M at LSU. LSU's on its last leg. Texas A&M, they still got legs, PJ. What do you got?
Well, for Brian Kelly, I think he's there. Talk about another huge contract to buy out. that's one right there, along with Dabo Sweeney. And you're talking several $1 million for these kind of guys. Unfortunately, Brian Kelly is not going to win this game either. I think Texas A&M has got too much to lose, so they're going to play it all out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I had a feeling that LSU was going to render themselves obsolete. This is the game. Texas A&M getting this. Now, if LSU finds a way to win this, all of a sudden they're probably going to shoot up the rankings here. But I got Texas A&M and Mike Elko to stay alive. PJ, let's go to just a couple more here before we take a break. So I will say this about your Florida Go Gators, and that is that the Florida Gators cannot lose this week because they're not playing.
Yeah.
So
they can lose their own inter-squad game.
Yeah. So they'll lose the orange and blue game. So let's go to Syracuse. Syracuse is reeling since the loss of their starting quarterback. They have struggled to move their offense. The defense had probably their best game to the game at Clemson, like I said earlier. But the offense didn't move. So Syracuse only is tasked with going to face an undefeated Georgia Tech team. Only. The only undefeated team in the ACC overall, and a team that I consider to be a dangerous dark horse of the college football playoff. Syracuse at Georgia Tech. My, oh my. What do you got, PJ?
Well, you got to be impressed with the way Georgia Tech is rolling. Haynes King certainly is a remarkable quarterback. I don't know if he'll ever make a pro, but all you got to do is just look at what Lamar Jackson does. And I guess the running quarterbacks are in vogue. He's too good. He's too good, Daniel. He's just too good to lose this game.
Yeah. I would agree with you in that. I don't think Georgia Tech was close last year. I think they closed the gap this time. I think they do it in a big way. I think Syracuse fans continue to get to be angry, unfortunately. And they just have to understand that the backup quarterback typically does not have a good season. And that's in the NFL. I mean, that's all over the place. When you bring in your backup quarterback, 99.9% of the time, things don't go in the positive uptick direction. And I think the same thing for Syracuse here. I'm not trying to knock Ricky Collins Jr. They might eventually switch to Luke Carney, but Fran reiterated repeatedly, Ricky's the best quarterback we got right now. And whether Syracuse fans want to hear it or not, that's who he's rolling with. That's what he's doing, and this is where we're at. So we'll take a look at how things go from here, but as of right now, I don't like Syracuse's chances in a lot of things. I don't like Syracuse's chances in a fight with themselves. So I'm going with Georgia Tech to win the game right now, and that's where I will lie. PJ and I are going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we can tell you two things. We'll be talking about the NFL, and neither PJ nor I will be arrested for anything in connection with the mob, like the NBA. We'll take a step aside. We'll be back right after this for the NFL. Stay with us.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. It could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, We just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo, they're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing. And so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. We want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. You can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, everyone in the world is going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. They're delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays, from a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing. You go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Kaz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point, because you get a little something different at each one. We understand how hard it is to, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, and we are so happy to be here with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, you can go to Great Lakes Honda City Studios, or Great Lakes Honda City, I should say, as we're inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. You can visit Great Lakes Honda City on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Monday through Saturday. And you get a sneak peek of all that they have to offer you on Great Lakes Honda City.com. With that being said, PJ and I are jumping from college to the NFL. And in the NFL, we'll take a look at how we performed in our picks from this past week. So let's take a look as we bring up the board before we make our picks for Week 8. We'll take a look back on Week 7 and recap here. Well, Pitt had an incredible game against Joe Mother Freaking Flacco. The guy's in his 18th year in the NFL. I backed him when he was a rookie, and he went to the playoffs. And he won a Super Bowl in his career. And now, 18 years in, Joe Flacco, in the words of Stuart Scott, is cooler than the other side of a pillow. So PJ,
I like that.
Thank you. PJ and I got it wrong, but I'm happy to get it wrong because the Flack attack is back, baby. That's right. Jacksonville, man, I'm going to tell you something that you don't want to know if you're a Jaguars fan. PJ and I got this one wrong. Jacksonville had more penalties than points. 13 penalties, 7 points. And I believe that the quarterback on the other side, Matt Stafford, now has the most touchdowns thrown in a single international game in NFL play, courtesy of the Jaguars defense. Terrible. So we got that one wrong.
Miserable effort it was.
What did you say?
Miserable effort it was.
Yeah, it was not a good game. Chicago defeats New Orleans 26-14. We got that one right. Miami loses to Cleveland.
Oh, geez.
31-6. And Quinn Ewers might end up being the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. He might end up being the quarterback, and I can't wait for that day because y'all dogged Quinn Ewers. You dogged him when he was at Texas. And
that's a private joke amongst us. I'm sorry about that.
What'd you say?
It's a private joke amongst us.
Yeah, it is.
Our listening audience doesn't understand that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I can't help but every time I see his name say it that way. But Quinn, they dogged him at Texas, and he brought you to the college football playoff. Don't you kind of wish you had it? No offense to Arch Manning, but you wanted Arch so bad that you forgot about Quinn. Don't you want him now? And now all of a sudden people are telling me, forget Tua, maybe we go to Quinn now. So you didn't appreciate him then. Now all of a sudden you want him to be your NFL quarterback? Well, I could tell you this. Miami, they need some help because they got a problem. They're not doing what the Hurricanes are doing. Lost 31-6, gave up 3 touchdowns to Quinshon Judkins. Texas played Ohio State and Quinshon Judkins in the semifinal Cotton Bowl last year in the college football playoff. And Quinn was on the opposite side of Quinshon, saw him do his thing. Now Quinn, maybe he should be your quarterback after losing to Quinshon Judkins. And I got to do it one more time for the people in the back of my big brother. Let's see Quinn Ewers get himself out there in this game. The next one we have up here, New England, man, they're playing good. And Mike Vrabel went back to Tennessee just to show you how pretty he is. You let him go. You didn't want to take him to the dance. Tennessee, how you doing for the people in the back? New England, they might be a playoff team this year. Tennessee can't fight their way out of a paper bag, but a lot of their fans putting paper bags over their heads. Man, Mike Vrabel, killing it out there, doing his thing. Kansas City, they win their game against the Raiders.
Raiders.
They win the game over the Raiders 31-0. Kansas City wins that game. The Raiders getting raided by Pat Mahomes and the crew. Rashee Rice in his return, touchdown city. Philadelphia defeats Minnesota, which means that Philly took down their former quarterback and number 2 overall pick, Carson Wentz. The next one we have up here, Carolina. Man, there's only one winless team in the NFL right now, and that is your New York Football Jets. As Carolina takes them down, the Jets, they bad. They're really bad. The Jets have been grounded, no flights. So the Carolina Panthers win that game, and I think the Jets are going to go 0-8 after this week. Crazy, the New York Jets. Fans, I feel bad for all of them out there right now. The Denver Broncos did not score a single point in 3 quarters. Then they scored 33 against the Giants in the fourth quarter. 33 points in less than 15 minutes because they didn't have the ball the whole time in the 15 minutes of the fourth quarter. 33 points, at one point 20 plus unanswered. Bo Nix, somebody told you about him, Papa Joe. Somebody seconded it right here. We both said Bo Nix, and Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos, they might be one of the teams that is the team to beat in the AFC this season. You heard it here. The Los Angeles Chargers, they fell to Indianapolis. Indianapolis is the best team in the AFC of 16 teams. They're 6-1 right now. Shout out to the Colts. Apparently, Daniel Jones wasn't that bad. I told y'all I enjoyed covering him in college. He learned from the guru that is David Cutcliffe, but y'all wanted to hate on him with the Giants. Then he put on a jersey that kind of looks like the one he wore at Duke, and now Daniel Jones has the best team in the AFC. Looks like it wasn't a Daniel Jones problem. Dallas up against Washington. Man, Washington, the injury report has just bitten them this year. God willing, they'll get guys healthy. They didn't have Terry McLaurin. They didn't have Deebo Samuel. They called Papa Joe, but he couldn't make it out to the game. So Washington loses the game to Dallas. And by the way, Dallas keeps the streak alive that I mentioned to you earlier this season. Every home game they've had, they've scored 40 or more points. They do better at home than they do on the road, and they are 2-0-1, tying the Packers at home, scoring 40 or more points in every one of their games at AT&T Stadium. Speaking of Green Bay, they take down Arizona. We got that one correct. Then San Francisco took down Atlanta in Sunday Night Football. I thought that Michael Penix would get it done, but Mac Jones has this San Fran team looking great. Mac Jones has lost one game as a starter all season long. I think San Fran's got to ride with Mac. No offense to Brock Purdy, but the Mac attack is back, and I'm loving seeing it. Jalen Hurts, Mac Jones, and Tua Tagovailoa, all of those guys were at one time at Alabama together. They're all starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And the Monday night doubleheader, Baker Mayfield, he didn't come back this time. PJ picked Detroit, and he was right. Baker looked like he didn't have any touch on the ball, and I don't know what was going on with Baker, but hopefully he can get it done because the bread that Baker put in the oven did not come out looking nice. It was doughy, it was bad, and that team lost to the Detroit Lions, who are feisty this year. Then the Houston Texans went to Seattle, and Houston, they still got a problem. They're not winning. It's not looking pretty. Seattle got this game. CJ Stroud and the crew, it's just not getting done. People are saying to me, Dan, should I get rid of my Houston Texan players in fantasy football? Should I be done with Nico Collins? I don't think you should give up on Houston in fantasy, but in reality, the Houston Texans, they are not pretty right now. So, PJ this past week, let's take a look at this. He went 2-3, and then 3, 4, 5, 6-3, 6-4, 6-5, 7-5, 8-5, 9-5. So he went 9-6 this past week, and I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I went 7-8 this week. So I ended up with a losing record this week, going 7-8. How dare me have a record like that? Normally I do not. It's usually once a season that I'll have something like that, but I had an ugly one this week. PJ, any notes before we get into NFL Week 8? Any thoughts about a week inside the NFL that we saw in Week 7?
Well, probably go to coaches are probably going to lose their jobs. I think probably the Miami coach is going to lose their job. I don't know how the coach at the Jets, get this. The Jets owner comes out this week and says he's backing his coach because his quarterback's lousy. he thinks his quarterback is lousy, which is Justin Fields. Justin Fields fluffed it off. He says, well, whatever, Aaron Glenn came from Campbell Stadium or team, and he's 0-7, folks. Now, if you're a fan of New York City, man, you either win or you put a bag on, like Daniel said earlier. There's a lot of bags on this guy. The Jets are 0-7, and no one's clamoring for Aaron Glenn's voice. But maybe he has a godfather somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe he gambles.
Well, if you're gambling and betting for the Jets right now, my prayers to your bank account. So we shall see what happens from here, as the team is currently 0-7 on the season. Taking a look at NFL Week 8, as PJ and I will look to make our predictions for what is to come. It all starts tonight on Thursday Night Football. And so we will start with that Thursday Night Football matchup in our NFL Week 8 predictions. And I will defer to PJ, as I always do, for that. For each of these, he'll make his pick, I'll make mine. So Thursday night, PJ, Week 8 in the NFL. It will start things off with Minnesota at Los Angeles, the Chargers hosting the Vikings. What do you got?
Well, I like the Chargers a lot, and I'm looking at the tickets here. $32 is the lowest. That's a pretty good price out there in Los Angeles. It shows you how much they want to see Minnesota play football. But I like Los Angeles. You
can't drink out of a fountain in Los Angeles for $32. So I'm going with the Chargers as well in this one. The Chargers, just a dangerous team. I know they lost to the Colts, but Chargers got a lot of firepower. And guess who's the Chargers' #1 tight end who's getting in the end zone? That's right, former Syracuse player Oronde Gadsden II, a rookie that I told y'all to look out for. Drafted him as my backup tight end, put him out there on my roster this past week, and dude went to work like he did at Syracuse. I'm going with the Chargers because they got too much firepower, and J.J. McCarthy, he's still injured, and I'm sick and tired of hearing about it for this young man. I want him to get healthy, and I want him to get out there, so God bless to you. Miami will start things off on Sunday at Atlanta. Atlanta's beaten Buffalo, and then they've beaten themselves. Miami, well, they're not beating anybody, PJ. Miami looks not great, but people want to see this game. The lowest ticket, $85. What do you got?
I don't like this game at all. I'm going to pick someone, so I'm going to pick Atlanta because they're home. Penix probably can get enough points on the board where Miami can't.
Yeah. I'm going with Hotlanta in this one because Miami's been all too cold. So I will be going with Atlanta to win the game. And Atlanta seems to do that. They put up a game where they look not great, and then they respond by looking good, and then you don't know what to do with them. So for those of you that are out there gambling, do it responsibly, but it's hard to gamble on Atlanta. One guy that's not gambling right now this morning, Chauncey Billups. So the next one we have here, the New York Jets at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Jets are 0-7, and the Bengals got life. Joe Flacco, at the ripe age of 129 years old, is leading this football team. PJ, what do you got?
Did you do Cleveland at New England?
No, the next one I had is Jets at Cincinnati. Cleveland's the next one.
Okay, Jets at Philadelphia.
Jets at Cincinnati. Well, Jets at Cincinnati.
This will be a runaway. You know that.
Yeah, it's the Jets at Cincinnati. So you got Cincinnati.
You want to do Jets in Cincinnati? Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Jets at Cincinnati. Oh no, Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cincinnati. Okay, my bad.
Hey, okay. So PJ going with Cincinnati in this game. PJ, I could have told you the New York Jets playing Christian Brothers Academy High School, and you picked CBA. So we're going with Cincinnati here in this game. The both of us are. I keep looking at the Jets going, okay, where's their first win going to come from? And then, like, the next game's a tough game. And then the next game's a tough game. So Cleveland at New England. Speaking about the next game being a tough game, New England, I said over a year ago, hire Mike Vrabel. The Patriots didn't listen to me. A year later, they hired Mike Vrabel. And New England, with their former linebacker and Super Bowl champion, what are they doing? Well, they're just 5-2. They've won their last 4. They've won 5 of their last 6 games. They're doing all right. They got a loss to the Raiders, and they got a loss to the Steelers. I'm sorry, I didn't have that thing in my throat when I said it. They had a loss to the Raiders. So now Cleveland is going to New England, PJ. Do the Cleveland Browns have a shot, or will New England win their 5th game in a row? 5th game in a row.
Vrabel is known as a player's coach. He was it since at Tennessee. I guess their ownership didn't see him that way. He's an extraordinary coach, defensive-minded, and he's just a great guy to be around. He congratulates every single player walking off the field when he's in his locker room. Like either hug him or shake him or something like that. He's just a great coach, and the guys love playing for him. And unless he screws up a game plan somehow, I don't think they're going to lose it this year, except maybe to a better opponent. But they certainly won't lose this game.
No. New England, to me, they have played very well. I thought Drake May might have an uptick here as a sophomore. Had a feeling, did a little circle of him and Caleb Williams of, hey, these guys could step it up in the next season. Mike Vrabel is doing a great job, and we are seeing this team move the ball. You're getting to know guys like Keyshawn Boot, and, they're doing a tremendous job, and they're opening this offense up. They got Stephon Diggs on the team. Things are working in New England. I'm going with them. The New York Football Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. Guess what? The Giants, despite giving up 33 points to the Broncos in the fourth quarter of this past game and losing 33-32, they're going to play the Eagles for the second time in 3 weeks. And when they played the Eagles at home at MetLife in New Jersey, they won 34-17. So, do the Giants beat the Eagles twice this season, PJ?
No, I don't think so. No, I think that Philadelphia's ball control is just going to be too much. I think that was a lucky win for them back in New York, but not so this time. This is Philly.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Philadelphia in this one, but I like Jackson Dart. I mean, despite the loss, he had a bunch of touchdowns that he threw in the game against Denver. So give him some credit here. The young man's doing a good job. Tickets in Philly, lowest one, $305. Because you want to know why? They don't have a Phillies game to go to. That's why. I know that probably made a lot of people in Philadelphia very mad at me that I said that. But it's true. You don't have one to go to, so y'all go to the Eagles game. The Phillies aren't playing right now because the Dodgers beat them. Like the Dodgers have beaten so many. Buffalo at Carolina. Carolina has done some good things this year. They've beaten some teams that make you scratch your head. Carolina shut out Atlanta, and Atlanta beat Buffalo. So if A equals B and B equals C, does A equal C, and does Carolina beat Buffalo at home?
No.
Well, that's all we needed from PJ. So I will also go with Buffalo. If Buffalo loses this game, there's going to be a lot of fans that are going to lock themselves in the igloos in Buffalo, and they're not coming out for the rest of the fall into the winter here. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to win this matchup. Next game we got Chicago at Baltimore. Baltimore has been reeling with or without Lamar Jackson. They have not been good, but they brought back Tyler Huntley because he moves the ball similar to Lamar Jackson where Cooper Rush does not, and they haven't been doing much of anything on offense. And here comes Chicago, a team that's trying to make the playoffs. What do you got, PJ?
Buffalo's defense wins this game. Baltimore's defense wins this game.
PJ going with Baltimore's defense. I am going with Chi-Town because I just haven't liked what I've seen from. Do I want to do it? Let's do it. What's my gut? What does my gut say? All right, I'm going to stick with Chicago. So I'm going with Chicago in this one. I might get this one wrong, but I'm going with Chi-Town just because I don't like what Baltimore's been doing, and I like some things that Chicago has been doing. San Francisco at Houston. Mac Jones, like I said before, he's out here making it happen, PJ. He's putting the work in. He's doing his thing. He's reminding people why he was a top 15 pick. He's reminding people why he went to Fly Slamma Jamma Bama. So does Mac Jones come to Houston and tell C.J. Stroud, shh, I got this, young man?
Yeah. The road in Houston's a lot longer now, and it's going to be a lot longer after this game, too. I think San Francisco wins this.
I got to go with San Fran. Ride the hot hand, baby. CMC looking like himself with Mac Jones. Christian McCaffrey catching the ball in the backfield, leading the whole team in receiving yards and getting over 100 yards on the ground. I got San Fran. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. New Orleans is just plain bad. They are 1-6 right now. But Tampa, they had a really bad Monday night. However, Detroit ain't New Orleans. So who's winning this one, PJ? Does Tampa find their way back to winning?
You know, I got to say, New Orleans is bad, but not that bad. These Spencer Rattlers trying to do some good things. I don't know, maybe the play calling is a little wrong. Defense isn't that good, but they're going to lose again. So, but I think that Rattler is playing a lot better.
Yeah. So you're going to go with New Orleans?
Tampa Bay.
Oh, Tampa. Okay. You said yeah, because when you said Rattler's playing better, I didn't know if you were going to shift that way. So PJ, going with Tampa. I am also going with Tampa and Baker Mayfield in the crew. Unfortunately, Bucky Irving has been hurt in their backfield, so we'll see what Rachaad White and Syracuse alum Sean Tucker can do. And Mike Evans he's back on the injury report. He's not coming back till toward the end of the season. Godwin, hopefully he'll be okay. But Emeka Egbuka, the rookie, has been doing a good job. Let's do the Dallas at Denver game. Like I told you, Dallas at home, 40 points or more. Dallas on the road, different team. Denver, hellish defense. And Bo Nix and the crew. What do you have for this one, PJ?
Oh, boy. You look at the tickets on that, Daniel, are $294.
That's right.
Wow. This is the game of the week, folks. It's going to be, too, but I think Denver can outscore Dallas.
Are you saying that the ticket prices are as elevated as the air in Denver? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos in this game. Like I said, Dallas different when they're on the road, and the Broncos have been somewhat of a buzzsaw this year. They're the more dangerous team. Them and the Chargers, I would right now take them over Kansas City potentially. I think I would take Denver over Kansas City. Chargers, they've been doing some good work. Tennessee and Indianapolis will face off once again. When they faced off earlier this season in their AFC South matchup, they took care of the Titans 41-20 in Tennessee. Now Daniel Jones is at home. Jonathan Taylor is putting that work in. They're having fun. For some reason at Lucas Oil Stadium, $57 can get you in the game. What do you got, PJ?
This is a good game for Indianapolis to just keep the ball control, give Taylor the ball, and then just run the clock out. I mean, I don't think Tennessee has a shot here.
Yeah, I'm going with Indy in this one. Tennessee is not the worst team in the NFL. Like I said, that's the Jets, but Tennessee, they're close. They're 1-6. I'm going with Indianapolis to go 7-1 to start off this season. Sunday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers had the Aaron Rodgers Bowl to start the season, and he won it against the Jets in MetLife on the road. Now Aaron Rodgers has a chance to beat his first team at home in Pittsburgh when Green Bay comes to town. Who wins the Aaron Rodgers Bowl Chapter 2, PJ?
That's a good call. This is Mike Tomlin will really have his team up for this because he knows Rodgers really wants this game bad. They're going to make all the right moves too. I don't see them losing this game.
Yeah, I'm going with Aaron to win this game. Aaron Rodgers, he's going to go 2-0 in the Aaron Rodgers Bowl. So I got Pittsburgh winning, and so does PJ in Sunday Night Football. And Monday Night Football will take us to the matchup that will be Washington at Kansas City. Could have been a Super Bowl matchup, but Washington's got a bunch of guys injured. Jaden Daniels is still on the injury report. Terry McLaurin has been out multiple weeks. Debo Samuel's on the injury report. Kansas City, they just got Rashee Rice back, and he scored a couple times in his debut for this season. We have also seen, I think Isaiah Pacheco's gotten himself involved. Travis Kelce has done some good things. Patty Mahomes is trying to turn it on now as it started. That ignition, trying to get that key in there and turn that car over. Didn't really work in the first couple weeks for Kansas City, but it seems to be working better now. Washington at Kansas City, Monday night. Who got it?
Oh, boy. Kansas City's having fun playing ball again now. We saw it last weekend. Kansas. Mahomes has so many weapons. He probably gets confused trying to figure out which guy is going to get open. Seems like they can all get open, and they probably will again this weekend. This game will be ugly, Daniel.
Yeah, well, listen, if Dallas puts up 44 and doubles your points 44-22, Kansas City's going to handle you with those injuries that they have. Unfortunately, God willing, everybody will be okay and get out there soon for everyone, including for your Commanders. I'm going with Kansas City to command this win and to take it at home for Monday Night Football. This is the biggest bye week so far this season for the amount of teams that are out. I want to remind everyone that plays fantasy football that you need to know that you should not be putting out there Detroit, Las Vegas, the Los Angeles Rams, Arizona, Seattle, or Jacksonville players because they are all on a bye week. PJ, final note from you before we bid you adieu this morning.
I'm a Gator throughout, but always will be. People just have to understand the situation, the way we describe it, especially the way Daniel described it. That's the way college football is these days, and I don't like it. I don't subscribe to it. I'm in the Nick Saban school, but I hope my team can gear up, start winning maybe a couple of games. Next year will be better. You just gotta. It's a different world, Daniel, when these kids are getting paid, and some kids, and I know this is true. Some kids have gone to 4 different schools in 4 years.
Yep.
Now, how do you get a degree doing that?
They don't.
They don't care about the degrees. They care about the NIL. They care about who their coach is going to be. I'll tell you, if Florida doesn't hit this right, there's going to be a mass exodus going out the door with the kids, and the recruits are going to decommit. So I'm not looking forward to that. I'm just hoping that Strickland can get the ball done right this time.
Yeah, well, hopefully he can figure it out. Last year, he came out, addressed everybody, and said, we are keeping Billy Napier. This year, they let Billy go. So we'll see what happens, but PJ brought up a great point. Now that Billy's not there, his entire roster is up for the highest bidder, including DJ Lagway. So what's going to happen? We'll find out soon. But PJ, I'm going to do this for you because I know you need it this morning, and I'm happy to give it to you because you should have it, and we're supposed to uplift each other, and you always uplift me. So I'm going to say it. If other people aren't, I'm still going to do it. Go
Gators. I like it.
There you go. PJ right here. We'll talk with you soon. God bless.
Bye-bye.
See you. That coming from Papa Joe here on the show. We'll take our final step aside on Wake Up Call, and we'll wrap things up right after this fast break where sports meets life. You know what to do. If you don't, I'll remind you. Stay with us here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina.
Chick-fil-A in DeWitt on the corner of Bridge and Erie is the newest Chick-fil-A in Central and Upstate New York. Led by Megan Sorber, her team is there for you all throughout the week, except for on Sundays. As you know, they're closed on Sundays in honor of our Lord. So make sure that you go and see them today. Let them know that DT sent you. You can head through their drive-thru as well as go inside and order on the app. Chick-fil-A DeWitt, Bridge Street and Erie, right now featuring for a limited time the Pretzel Cheddar Club in original, spicy, and grilled. Head over to Chick-fil-A and support those that work within our community, go to school in our community, and are there to make sure that today is truly their pleasure to serve you. We'll see you at Chick-fil-A on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So K9 Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. K9 Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that K9 Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making K9 Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry-loving friend. Right, Lily?
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is there for you Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5, getting us closer to the teams, the players, and the characters that we love. We get to keep our big kid spirit very well fed at GG Cards and Breaks. For Disney Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, to hockey, soccer, baseball, basketball, football, and more. You never know what you're going to find at GG Cards and Breaks. There could be autographs from actors and actresses. There could be one-of-ones. There could be case hits. So many awesome things at GG Cards and Breaks, from their singles, their graded cards, their packs and boxes. You can buy from their display case and know what you're getting, or you can get packs and boxes and be surprised by what's in there. GG Cards and Breaks, the place to be for kids of all ages at 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. We look forward to seeing you there Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and on Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said, inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I appreciate you so much for being here with us this morning and every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. Of course, you can also find us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. You can also ask your Alexa and Google Home device to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they will do that for you as well. We appreciate everyone who subscribes and follows Wake Up Call on any one of these channels and beyond by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. A big time thanks to our Central and Upstate New York partners, Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel, DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Myers Creek, 2 locations, 1 in the country and 1 right here in the Syracuse Inner Harbor. You will find Myers Creek on 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia on their farm, and you'll also find, which is perfect to go out right now, especially to see all the leaves changing. Man, to take pictures there and then go home and paint those for fun, you could do that out at Myers Creek today. Go and take some pictures, make some memories, and then go home and draw those things out. Get in your creative space. Have some fun with it. And we'll also see you at the Syracuse Inner Harbor on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, New York. Myers Creek is where Wake Up Call Game Day comes to you live for Syracuse football home games in the 2025 season. So we will be there this Friday of next week. So not this one coming up here, but next Friday we will see you on Friday, October 31st on Halloween at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Wake Up Call Game Day will go live from Myers Creek in the Syracuse Inner Harbor, previewing Syracuse against North Carolina. Then we'll join you in the Dome at 7:30 for kickoff. Thanks to Chick-fil-A Cicero, Mother's Cupboard, where I have my own sandwich, the Cuse Mac Mother, bacon, egg, and cheese, inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Cut it up and have it with some syrup. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. Some people get it with sausage as well, and some people go veggie. The Cuse Mac Mother, there for you, 7 days a week at Mother's Cupboard, 3709 James Street in Syracuse, open 6 a.m. to 1:30 daily. Game Point Sports Complex, where I just was, love being in there. The home of Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse men's and women's basketball practices, basketball, volleyball, pickleball, cheerleading, floor hockey, so many awesome things going on at Game Point Sports Complex, including our segment, Who's Got Next? And featuring Lazara Sims. It will air this week, so make sure you stay close to find out when. Big time thanks to Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, for every one of your taste buds to dance on over to 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Big time thanks to Canine Camp Dog Daycare for taking care of our dogs during the day. Chick-fil-A DeWitt, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding for taking care of our dogs overnight. And Brian's Landing, Avicoli's, and of course, Wake Up Call is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. Find the Bobcats in the Bobcat Buzz every single month with Wake Up Call. I just aired a hype video for the women's basketball team that I took from practice at Game Point Sports Complex this week. Go and check that out on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on all of our social media. And on that YouTube channel, click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find over 100 Bobcat specials in the BSC Syracuse playlist. You'll also find the Bobcats by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and underneath the exclusive partners tab for more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide. Student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining the show. You can find it all by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find the Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and underneath the exclusive partners tab for more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. The Onondaga Community College Lasers are the newest exclusive multimedia marketing partner of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. You'll find the Lasers every other Wednesday, including coming up this Wednesday, October 29th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time in what we call the Laser Lounge. Student athletes, coaches, and administration joining the show to tell the story of Onondaga Community College in a way that it's never been told before. A consistent message on a school that should have that consistency. Find it all by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. Find our OCC playlist. You'll also find the Lasers by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and underneath the exclusive partners tab for more information, go to onondagalazers.com and go Lasers. I want to thank you all for tuning into today's show inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Ma and Pa's bringing you What's Poppin', the list of topics and guests of the day. Shout out to Ma and Pa's once again. Get there to celebrate your taste buds and to get all your Halloween treats, because they have stuff you're not going to find anywhere else. They do their own freeze-dried candy. They do their own chocolate-dipped assortment of a lot of different things. They have a ton of different flavors of popcorn, kettle corn, the premium corn. I love the Elvis, which is the banana flavored popcorn with the Reese's peanut butter drizzle. And they also have cotton candy, their fresh lemonade, so many things at Ma and Pa's. And if you buy a tin at Ma and Pa's of any size, half price refills for your life. Your life. So if you live to be 115, guess what? From here to there, you get half price refills, but only if you buy your tins at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York at Ma and Pa's. Big time shout out to Myers Creek for being with us for the Player of the Week, exclusively bringing you my Player of the Week segment every Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and bringing you the Central and Upstate New York Player of the Week. Shout out once again to CBA Syracuse quarterback Graydon Dixon that helps the team stay undefeated with his 3-touchdown performance and all the work that he has done with his teammates this season to get to 7-0 thus far. And shout out to our Syracuse Football Player of the Week, Kevin Jobity Jr., to have his first triple sack game, and that is 3 sacks against Heinschel of Pitt in a fantastic performance by the then third stringer back in the day, who has now worked his way this season to be a first string defensive tackle. Shout out to hard work and believing in your dreams. You can do it. And many thanks to Papa Joe, who made a dream come true of mine, that we were sitting at his kitchen table talking about sports and life, and I thought, I can't be somebody who is spoiled and keeps this all to myself. I got to share Papa Joe in these conversations with the world. He obliged, and I have had many years of having time capsules with one of the greatest minds and biggest hearts in this world. Shout out to Papa Joe for talking baseball, college football, and the NFL. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, have a beautiful day. You will find me on wakeupcalldt.com, our YouTube channel, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and of course, Facebook at wakeupcalldt, X at calldt, Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. For now, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I say, God bless, no stress, do your best. We'll talk soon.